Can you hear me well?
Oh, yes, yes, I can. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. How are you doing?
Good. It's early morning my time. So sorry, when you first got on the recording, I was still getting up. I was waking up. I think we got a 9, 10 hour difference.
Yes, therefore there can be some delay. Sometimes you finish your question and I already start to answer. So we should be careful about it as well.
I want to talk about a lot of things. The new album, the title of it, Al Dajjal, is in Arabic kind of means the deceiver or antichrist. Was that kind of something you were? I know there's a lot of the songs about anti-religion kind of things, and it's very intense, like all of Necrowretch's music. So I kind of want to ask you about that.
Yeah, actually the thing is, since a couple of years, we are very much interested and connected about Eastern world and Middle Eastern world in general. I live in Turkey, Middle East for a couple of time also. Um, we tied a lot of links with the bands from this part of the world. We also went to tour twice in Southeast Asia, like country like Malaysia, Singapore, and so on. So therefore, it's now a couple of years our head is looking toward the east. And it's quite an interesting thing because I know there is a devil or there is a monster in every place of the world. Also, it can come from some ancient beast on the tails, or like the Bigfoots you have in USA, or some similar thing we have in France. But everywhere in the world there is a vision of the devil itself, or a vision of the messengers of the devils. And therefore, a lot of metal records already explore the theme of the Antichrist in a Christian or Jewish point of view, the most common one. And when we start our research about what was going on in Islam and Middle East in general, therefore we say, okay, we have something interesting. And we wrote the first song of the album called Swords of Dajjal, and the song was so intense and the topic was so interesting, but we said, okay, we can craft an entire album around it. So we took this first song and we wrote the album around this and not the other way around. And therefore, I think I will not say it's pretty fresh because it still tells about um, horrible things and evil messengers, but it's done in another way and with our vision. Therefore, I think this record have something more special, especially in our discography.
I've listened to your whole album and I actually looked up all the lyrics because it's so intense. And obviously, it's something you're very passionate. The band's passionate about, and it's very brutal, but it's real at the same time. If that makes sense, it's very immediate. I wondered about that because some of these things like I think it's Damari. I like that video a lot, but the song is it Deva? If and correct me if I'm wrong in interpreting this, but it looks like it was a Zoroastrian word that meant evil spirit or demon that promotes chaos and disorder. Is that kind of correct? I mean, like you're saying, like there are demons. I agree on all cultures around the world. And I didn't know if because you're saying the demons are now coming out and they're causing all this chaos, and obviously there's wars right now, right? We're in the Middle East. Are you saying I mean, obviously it's like maybe a bad thing, or is it something that you're saying it's kind of turning? It comes around in time. We have the good and bad, evil spirits always kind of fighting each other.
Yes, it's interesting you choose the song Daiva actually because as you mentioned, it's some Zoroastrian demons, and we know that this culture was something like 7,000 years ago, and we were the first people in actual Persia to believe in only one God, and there was the god of the good things and the creation, and the god of the death and the disorder. So we can see that already 7,000 years ago, these people were thinking there is a a natural order of creation and an order of destruction that didn't change since. They put some names on these spirits, and so on over civilization on the world change the name or maybe choose other names for this thing, but we are still mostly on the same topic. It's very interesting to see this because this civilization, for example, completely disappeared right now, or almost no one still practice this Zoroastrian cult in Iran as we speak. And therefore, when we started to make the song about Daiva, I wrote some lyrics about it, but I was not very convinced about how to abord something so ancient, so deep. So we thought maybe we will just make an instrumental song to have like the spirit releasing from itself, and like it can be up to everyone to see this demon of disorder, Therefore, it was an interesting challenge, and as you say, chaos and disorder, unfortunately, still happen in many places of the world at the moment. And the music of Necrowretch is not something about bashing other culture or say this god is false and this demon is right. It just tells about the world we live on and the world to come, and then everyone can make its own interpretation. But when you check on this ancient spirits and what people were believing thousands of years ago, and the same thing for the Mori, the ancient gods in northern Africa before the Roman Empire, the theme is already so strong that you can make a good metal song around it. So it's like, obviously, when you check this story, you say, this is so good. We can create some music around, like many people did in the 80s with some horror movie or some classic books from Lovecraft. The team was very good, and they say we will put this in music. So I guess Necrowretch continue in this way. Maybe we can see a religious belief, but everyone can have his own interpretation and believe in what they want.
Yeah, and that was one of my questions, because that's what it kind of seemed to me from when I, listening to, some of your, other albums before this one, which this one's kind of more of aiming more towards a black metal sound than death metal. But your songs, when you have Satanic Slavery, Luciferian Sovereignty, I think, all of those. It seems like you are talking about the different religions and how, or demons and beliefs, and how they're everywhere. So it's kind of more, I guess, a unifying thing. Because I agree. I know a lot. I love history. It's true, like all the civilizations all had their, gods and goddesses and demons, and I think the album Swords of Dajjal does a really amazing job of kind of harnessing that power, or I don't know if it's anger, and I'm not sure that's the right word to use, but definitely like a power around this. Like, it seems something very passionate to talk about, how all of these, I don't know, deities still are in the world today. I don't know if that's exactly what you want to say, but the album is honestly one of my favorites so far. I really love the album, everything about it, just the craft, what you're trying to say, or what I feel you were trying to say.
Yeah, yes, I can get it, and of course, we spent almost 4 years since the beginning of the composition and the release of the album, and you say it's very passionate album and work. Of course it is, because we are not a professional band and we do this on our free time. So it's like for 4 years we have this creation going on. It's like we are in gestation. We are like, I won't say almost, we are like pregnant of the album for 4 years and preparing for the birth of the album. And we spend a lot of time and energy, and mostly all our weekends and time off, to work around it, maybe for the music, later to produce the album, to think about the artwork, the lyrics, to change the lyrics again and again, and to have the best thing. So in the end, I think in this kind of music, you can definitely hear when a band is doing this for passion, and you have like a fire in the music, And in other hands, in the most popular and mainstream music that people listen on radio, you can definitely understand this music is made for money, and it's not very good. Let's be honest about it. And what it's something I really love in metal and in extreme metal in general. It's the music is made with the passion of music and the fire that burns in the musician of the scene, and that, therefore, I think this kind of music is touching us so deeply.
Oh, I completely agree. I love black and death metal because it's true. What you say, it's it's not a genre of music people go into to make lots of money, like I don't know, pop music or in the U.S. Country music. Those are like what everyone hears. So anyone who's into any sort of creating extreme metal, it's a passion, and it comes out. That's what I love about it. It's like you said, it's you have to make the time to do it, so it's not like something easy to do. And music in general is not easy. It costs money to tour and instruments and record and all of that. But I think in extreme metal, musicians are definitely more, in general, dedicated to it. It's an art, not just like some like money making thing, or they don't look at it like that. I don't know how things are over there, and like what, like I don't know if it had to do with COVID times, but was there a reason why there was like a 4-year time period? Was it just because you guys were thinking of putting this together, or was it just other things came up that there was time between this album and your earlier, the last one before this, the album, The Ones from Hell?
Yes, actually, the COVID is the main reason, and we can say this album is first born from hate and frustration, because in early 2020, in February, we released the fourth album, The Ones from Hell, and we were about to go to a European tour and to have, the full start of the albums, and everything was cancelled because of the COVID, and we didn't play a show for maybe 1.5 years. It was very long. So after some weeks, it was during the first lockdown. Already I talked with the lead guitarist, Venceslas, and we say we need to admit, unfortunately, that our album, The Ones from Hell, is lost. I mean, we cannot tour, we cannot do any promotion, so surely our fan base will bought this album, or they already bought, but we cannot go any further. We cannot reach a new audience, and it's too bad. So we should already start to work on a next album. And because we were, burning with so much frustration, at the beginning we crafted the first song kinda quickly, actually. The first idea kinda quickly. And then we decided to start from zero, like a blank page, and recruit a new lineup, change our instrument, change our guitars, for example, that we were using the same guitars for many years. We say, okay, we will go to something different, and almost like we start a new band. We started a new band, but already with the fan base that we acquired. So of course it's still Necrowretch, but it's like really like a new start. And we spend long time first for the writing and the demos, many demos and many rehearsal to improve the songs. Then I guess almost 2 years later, we finally entered the studio and spent 1.5 months there to produce the album. By the end of 2022, we had the master in our hands, and we decided to spend 1 year more to practice again, prepare some videos, create the artwork and all the promo elements to be sure that in 2024 we can release Swords of Dajjal with everything ready, and this time with no COVID. And here we are.
Do you have many shows booked? Anything?
For now, we play mostly in France. We have, I will say, we will play in different places of France. We already started to play actually, but no full tour as we speak, because for us in France it's kinda easy. We can play on the weekend and play in front of a larger audience, so it's easy for everyone. It's like a win-win situation. And we will see at the end of the year what are the possibilities. We already have some festival booked for Europe and see if we have the possibility to tour again in Europe. Of course, we aim to go back to Southeast Asia, where we already had some good tour experience and our fan base is waiting us there. And hopefully, hopefully we can discover new territories. Of course, I'm thinking about North and South America, but we need to be honest, it's kind of hard for bands like us because we are not really underground bands who plays in bar, but we are not like bands who play in stadium. We are like, the in between, which is hard. Also hard for promoters, to book all flights and all the visa issue to bring a band that is not little but not very big. So mostly we should aim to tour with a bigger band, maybe to have a tour support or something. It can be the wiser decision. So some plans are on the table as we speak, and at once something will be confirmed, it will be announced on our Instagram and Facebook and so on. But yeah, things will happen. We are patient. It's our 5th album, so we know how it's working. We want to play some good show. We prefer quality over quantities at the time right now, and surely we already played some very good place in France, and it will come again. Hopefully we can maybe play Hellfest one more time. Let's see how it goes, but we are confident.
Well, that would be good. Yeah, I know it's very hard for bands, and I've heard this from bands in other countries trying to play the U.S. So we are just only starting to get some black and death metal bands coming back. There's all kinds of U.S. visa issues. I have been traveling mostly over to Scandinavia to see festivals and bands the last couple of years. So maybe I will get to France and be able to see you guys play.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And I also honestly like so far all the venues over in Europe and the crowds, the people better than some of the U.S. crowds. I probably should not say that, but over here sometimes it gets a little crazy. I like to watch musicians play and listen to the music, and I don't always want a cell phone in my face or somebody pushing and shoving, which it happens more honestly in U.S. shows than overseas. So anyway, I definitely Necrowretch is I would really like to see you. So hopefully I will get to see one of your shows over there in France or Europe sometime. I think that's probably all my questions. I really appreciate that you take the time out to speak with me. Like I said, I love you. I love the album. I mean, I like all of your albums, but this one, like you said, you can feel the power and the passion behind it, and I think it's amazing.
Well, thanks for the support. I think, every artist always say the same, but our new album is the best one. But in this case, I know it is. First, because I've been here since the beginning of the band, and I know the preparation and the work for this album was pretty intense, and we crafted something, I will say, more interesting and also way more personal. If maybe on the first album I was satisfied to see it sounding like Death or like Morbid Angel and so on, right now I'm very proud to say the music sounds like Necrowretch. And if you take 10 CDs of death and black metal, you will directly recognize a Necrowretch among them, and I think it's the most important. I mean, for us, it's the most important to have our own signature. I prefer to have less sales, but to be original compared to have more sales and to be just a copy or a clone of another band. So, and everyone in France mostly say this. We are very proud of our identity in general and our French signature, and so for it, I know it's the best album so far, and we receive a lot of good feedbacks. We can already see, from the numbers in YouTube's or the streamings and sales like this, and many people from the US, I must say, because for 15 years I didn't had so much feedback from the US. maybe it was not the time, maybe the music was too underground, or maybe it was not just I don't know, just the stars were not aligned at this time. But right now, I receive so much feedback from the US, and I saw many podcasts and received many interviews from the US. So it's good to see we can have support from this big metal country, which was one of the first on the map of the history of metal. And hopefully, we will be able one day to come and to play in front of some fans in the USA. Let's see if it can happen, but we are working on it.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I think that you are right that black and death metal, maybe black metal more than death metal, has become a little more known in the U.S. than it was, like 20 years ago for sure, but even 15. So that, but also maybe it just has to do with things in the world. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, or maybe because I think USA never had a good. I mean, I don't want to say this, but USA never had a strong black metal band
right,
that can be the same that you can find in Scandinavia. I mean, you don't have an equivalent to Mayhem in the USA, or some big black metal names. We thought mostly about Scandinavia, or we can think even about France for some well-known black metal bands. But in USA, I don't think so. It was the time for this. But of course, all the good death metal bands started mostly in Florida. We know this. But for black metal, I don't really include USA in my list. Maybe I'm wrong. I know there is some bands, but mostly it's underground. So as you say, maybe right now something is happening for black metal or music in generally in the USA.
yeah, yeah. I think it definitely is. Yeah, and I agree. We don't really have a big black metal band. There's more, but yeah, I think mostly other countries have more black metal
Yeah,
than the U.S.
sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I think that's all I want to talk to you about. I mean, I'm someone who can talk forever, but I don't want to hold you up. And I just want to say thanks again for talking. And I don't know. I don't know what to say. I thank you for the music. I guess that's the right thing to say. Thanks
Yeah,
for the
sure.
great album.
Thanks for your time and the question, and thanks for your support. Glad to know you love the album. And yeah, let's keep in touch. And I will also want to say thanks to all the people who support us for 15 years, or the people who just discover us with the last album. See you on the stage pretty soon, or keep in touch by the social media. And have a nice day. Cheers.
Yes, thanks. Yes, have a good day. Have a good night. Yeah.
Yeah, mostly here. Yeah, sure.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
Bye.